Here.
Unfortunately, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell continues to operate in an alternative universe, believing that mandates only apply to him and his Republican colleagues. He's even taken to repeating himself on the matter.
The voters also re-elected a Republican-controlled House last week and a closely divided Senate. If he's really serious, he'll put the camp rhetoric aside, propose a realistic solution that can pass a Republican-controlled House and a divided Senate.
Congressman John Yarmuth is a Democrat from Kentucky and a member of the House Budget Committee. Good afternoon, sir. You know Mr. McConnell very well. Can you explain to me and our viewers how he believes that he, and not the president, has a mandate, despite Democrats increasing their number in the Senate, winning the presidential election, and not winning the House, mostly because Republicans gerrymandered so many districts?
Well, I'm not sure he believes that, but he is saying it because he's talking to a different audience than we are, and also than most of the country is. You know, I think he's in a very, very difficult spot. I don't think he really faces a serious threat from his right in Kentucky, but he doesn't want to do anything that's going to invite one. Meanwhile, his real vulnerability is if he's the one seen blocking a deal that everybody in the country and everybody in both parties wants. So I think he's trying to negotiate this, sounding tough for his right flank, but also I think the important thing to watch is what he does. And if he lets his members, the other 44 Republicans in the Senate, kind of do what they're going to do, make the compromises that everybody wants to make, then he can sort of have it both ways.
But Congressman, given that exit polling showed that 60% of the population believe that taxes on the wealthiest Americans should go up to help deal with the deficit, and given the president's emphatic victory, what more does Mr. McConnell require to persuade him of what the American people want? What does he need?
Well, you know, I'm not sure anything's going to totally persuade him, but Mitch McConnell will always do what's in Mitch McConnell's best interest. And he's, again, made this calculation that saying this, hewing to a fairly hard line, is going to in some way guarantee that he doesn't face a primary. But, you know, the really ingenuous thing about the Republican argument right now, this whole thing about rates, is unfortunate because you cannot do what they say they want to do, which is deal with the tax code and deductions without impacting the middle class. Because anytime you touch a deduction, whether it's home mortgage deduction or even capital gains or whatever, you're talking about middle classes being impacted along with wealthier Americans. So this is all phony. We've got to do something with the rates. The president is absolutely right to hold to his line. The American people are on board. And I think eventually the Republicans are going to fall in line.
Okay, now I know that you head up the Bourbon Caucus, a most excellent caucus, yes, if ever there was one. You've invited Republican Representative Massey to join you. But could you not also hold a Bourbon conference with Mr. McConnell and try to introduce him to the idea of working with as opposed to against this president?
Well, absolutely, and you know, the minority leader was reelected this afternoon, and he issued a statement afterwards which actually read a lot more conciliatory than what we've heard from him. So maybe he has had a little bit of a realization that he needs to at least profess to be willing to work with Democrats and with the president. Let's hope that for once that the interests of the country and Mitch McConnell's interests coincide. That would be really fortunate.
Fingers crossed, Congressman John Yarmuth of Kentucky. Thank you so much.